Can you really cause a child to focus? This is kind of a big deal, and we live in a world that is constantly bombarding us with distraction. Then you add to that kids, both bright and challenged, and their distractibility can be multiplied. So we live in a world that's kind of given up and said, you know, they need medication, they need maybe getting onto, or maybe tolerance, or maybe special permission to take tests, do papers in another way. And I would argue while all that stuff may have some merit in the conversation, there really is a way to have a child focus. And it requires you simply to know a simple thing about how focus works. My name is Dr. Fred Ray Lybrand, and I am an educator and an author, and have spent a lot of time especially with homeschools and private schools. I've taught in college, and I'm just going to tell you, I am one of these distractible people. As I've said before, I don't even have ADHD. I have ADOS, which is attention deficit. Oh, squirrel! That's how my life goes. However, here is the trick. It's a simple principle, and it goes like this. Limits yield focus. When there is a limit, it creates a concentration. The end of a hose, when you put a thumb over it, it creates a more direct, energetic stream of water because it's being focused, because you've limited that nozzle, as it were. A limited amount of time to take a test, a limited amount of time to do a task creates an incredible focus. Have you ever noticed that the nature of a football game, how in a 2-minute drill there's a whole different level of intensity going on? It's because of this limits game. Artists learn the power of the limited palette. If you want to learn to draw or paint more effectively, limit the palette, mean just use a few colors. Or if you want to write music, use 3 chords and play around with those chords until you figure out a melody. The millions and millions of options destroy us. I remember the first time I ever went to like Six Flags back in Georgia in my young years with some friends, family. I went as a little guy. And I went into the first place I ever saw ice cream more than 3 flavors. You know, they had 31 or whatever it was. And I looked up at all of them, and I just absolutely froze and said, vanilla. Couldn't make a choice. It was too unlimited. You know, if someone had been there and understood the principle, they would say, we're going to look at flavor, fruit, and nuts. You can only have those 3. You got to pick a flavor, a fruit, and a nuts. And in that time, it'd come out strawberry, peanut butter, who knows. I would have had something. Because of the power of limits. So if you want a child to focus, create a limit. Limit the number of pages that they're going to read before they take a break. Limit the amount of time they can spend on any particular problem or pages read or project, etc. Anything that is a limit. Giving a presentation to the family at supper. Some game where when they get finished with something, they can go out and do something they really love to do. That's actually a kind of limit. It is quite amazing what can happen when you simply create a context in which they're allowed to focus. I have noticed and loved the power of using a clock with our kids in their writing. So we set a clock, they have a page, they have 10 minutes, write. And then when that dings, next page, next page. They rarely take 10 minutes on a page, usually 5 or less, because of the power of limits. Limits yield focus. You want to see a child focus? Figure a way to help them create a game that has a limit in it. It'll change everything.